a system of linear equation in the form of del f del x, del f del x1, del f del x2, and del f del xn. And if you solve the system of linear equation, you can find out the extreme points. Okay. Now, after finding that extreme points, how do you know that these extreme points will give us the maximum or minimum? To check that, we are going to find out our Hessian matrix at that point. If the Hessian matrix at that point, x equal to x star, if the nature of the Hessian matrix is positive definite, then that x star will give relative minimum. And if it is negative definite, then it will give us relative maximum. I have mentioned to you already in the last class that although I am saying that it is positive definite, but if it is positive semi-definite also, because I hope you can understand that positive semi-definite is another case of the positive definite. So if it is positive semi-definite also, then also in that case, we are going to get that point as a relative minimum. And if it is negative semi-definite, then we are going to get that point as a relative maximum. Okay. And if it is neither positive definite nor negative definite, then you can say that point is a saddle point, or that point does not give you the maximum nor minimum. We have discussed that part up to this. I hope. Any doubt, any question, if you have, you can ask me definitely. Otherwise, I'll proceed to solve the problem. Is it okay? Is it okay up to this? Okay.
Yes,
so now,
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let's proceed to solve the problem. So as I mentioned to you already in the last class, that please join into the Google Classroom. Otherwise, I have to again minimize the full screen that who want to enter into the class. If you are already in the Google Classroom, then there is no need to admit you to enter into the class. Please keep in mind that part. As I can see that some students are joining. Those students I have to admit to enter into the class. So if you have not in the Google Classroom, please join into the Google Classroom first. So this is the function. I have considered first one is a simple example so that you can understand that how we are going to deal with the Hessian matrix for to find out the optimum point for a by using the Hessian matrix, how we can find out the optimum point for the function. So first of all, what we are going to do, we are going to use the necessary condition to find out the extreme points. And to get that, what we are going to do, we are going to find out the gradient of fx. I hope you can remember what is the gradient of fx, as two variables are here. So we are going to calculate del f del x1, right? And del f del x2. And we are going to make this equal to 0. That means we are going to say del f del x1 equal to 0, del f del x2 equal to 0. And we are going to solve these two equations to find out the value of x1 star and x2 star, which will be our extreme points. Okay. So del f del x1 will be what? Del f del x1 will be 3x1 square plus 4x1 equal to 0, right? That means x1 into 3x1 plus 4 equal to 0. That means x1 will be 0 and minus 4 by 3. Is it okay? Similarly, we can find out del f del x2 as well. That is going to give you 3x2 square plus 8 x2, that will be equal to 0. Again, similarly, if you take x2 as a common, it will be 3x2 plus 8 equal to 0. That means you are going to get x2 equal to 0 and minus 8 by 3. So if I ask you that what are the stationary points here? Anyone? What are the stationary points? Anyone? What are the stationary points? You have done this kind of problem already in your first semester. The stationary points will be what? The combination of x1 and x2. That means 0, 0, okay? 0, minus 8 by 3, Okay, minus 4 by 3 0 and minus 4 by 3 minus 8 by 3. Okay, Rupkatha, you are not in the Google Classroom. Rupkatha, are you not in the Google Classroom? Okay, so these are the stationary points, okay, for which we have to find out the nature of the function, right? Whether it will give us the maximum minimum, and to do that we have to find out our Hessian matrix. Every time I have to see that who is want to enter into the class. Okay, so first of all, what is the Hessian matrix? Del 2f, del x1 2, right? Del 2f, del x1 del x2, del 2f, del x2 del x1, and del 2f del x2. Okay, so now what will be that del 2f del x1 2? We have to take another order derivative here. That is going to give you 6x1. This one will give you 0. This one will be again similarly 0. And this one will be 6x2. Is it okay? Sorry, 6x1
Yes,
plus.
sir.
No, it is not correct. 6x1 plus 4. If I take another order derivative, 6x2 plus 4, right? Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
So 6x2 plus 8.
6x2 plus 8.
8, sorry, yes, 8. Yes. Okay, so now to check the nature of a Hessian matrix, what you have to find out, we have to find out the first order principal minor and second order principal minor. That is H1 and H2. So H1 is the first order principal minor, and if I ask you what is that? What is the first order principal minor of this Hessian matrix? Anyone? 6x1 plus 6x1 plus 4. This is your first order principal minor. What is the second order principal minor?
The matrix, whole matrix.
Determinant of the matrix, yes. Determinant of the matrix.
Yes.
That is H2 will be what? You can say date of H, the determinant of H, that is 6x1 plus 4 into 6x2 plus 8. Is it okay? Is it okay? Now what we are going to do, we are going to find out the sign of H1 and H2 for different stationary points, 0, 0, 0, minus 8 by 3, minus 4 by 3, 0, minus 4 by 3, minus 8 by 3. Okay. So now this is a table. You can make it to make it more clear that what is the nature of the point X. To check that, first the point what we are going to consider 0, 0. What was H1? 6x plus 4. So what is the value of H1 at this point? 4. What is the value of H2 at this point? 0, 0, 8. I just write down here H1 and H2 so that you can recall. 6x x plus 4, H1, and H2 was 6x, sorry, x1. 6x1 plus 4 plus 6x2 plus 8, right? So H2 will be 4 into 8, that is 32. Now H1 is positive, H2 is also positive. So what will be the nature of H? What will be the nature of H? H1 is positive, H2 is positive. So what will be the nature of H? Bolo? What is the nature of H? And we have discussed that in the last class.
Positive definite.
Very good. Positive definite. Both are positive, means positive definite. If alternatively negative positive, then it will be called as negative definite. And if it does not follow any one of the rule, then it will be called as indefinite. So this one come as positive, greater than 0. H2 is also greater than 0. So the nature of H is positive definite. So what is the nature of X then? If it is positive definite, what X will give us? Relative? What? Relative?
Minimum.
Very good. Relative minimum. And you can easily find out the functional value at that point also. Okay. Next point is what? 0 minus 8 by 3. What will be H1? Again 4, which is greater than 0. H2, what is going to come? H2. Hello? This one is 4. And this one is minus 8 by 3. It is going to be minus 48 by 3. So minus 24 by 3. That is minus 8. Minus 16 plus 8. Yes. So it is going to be minus 32, which is less than 0. So that means what is the nature of the matrix? Nature of the matrix? Bolo? What is the nature of the matrix now? First positive, then negative. What is the nature of the matrix? You have to make sure that
Negative definite.
no, it is not negative definite.
Oh.
For
Indefinite?
negative, yes, indefinite. For negative definite, remember that H1 should be negative.
First H1 negative. Okay.
Yes. For negative definite, it will be alternate in sign, starting with negative.
Starting with negative. Okay.
Remember that, because हमेशा ना इस तरह से याद रखो, then you will never forget. When you have find out the maximum of any function, क्या करते थे? सेकेंड और डेरिवेटिव का साइन क्या होता था मैक्सिमम के लिए?
Maximum के लिए means negative.
Negative, and that is happening here actually. So that means if it is negative definite, that means you are going to get the relative maximum, and for the relative maximum, first value should be negative. That is the logic.
Okay.
Okay. So this is going to be indefinite. And if it is indefinite, then what is the nature of the point?
Neither maximum or minimum.
Yes, that is saddle point. Okay. Next, minus 4 by 3, 0. What will be H1? Minus 8 plus less than 0. What is H2? What is H2? Minus 4 by 3, that is minus 4. Here it is coming as 8 plus 8. So minus 32. So H1 is less than 0, H2 is also less than 0. That means what? What is the nature of the function?
Negative.
Negative definite.
No. They are alternate in sign. They are alternate with sign starting with minus. So are they alternate in sign? Are they alternate in sign?
No.
No. So as they are not alternate in sign, so that means again this one will be indefinite. So the nature of the point will be saddle point. Last point. Minus 4 by 3, minus 8 by 3. First one, again similarly minus 4, which is less than 0. This one, minus 4, and this one, minus 8. So plus 32, which is greater than 0. Now what is the nature of the function?
Negative definite.
Now it is negative definite. Now it is negative definite. So the nature of the point is relative maximum. Okay, now again, if you just try to recall the thing, because to understand or to solve this kind of problem, you have to keep in mind always that what we are trying to do. Always remember the nature of the point will be depending on the nature of the Hessian matrix at that point. Again, please.
Sir.
Yes.
স্যার থার্ড যেটা আছে ওটা স্যার ইনডেফিনাইট কেন হলো এটা একবার বলবেন বুঝলাম না
Third one is indefinite because first one is negative. Okay, no issue. But are they alternate in sign? Because to be negative definite, the nature of the Hessian matrix should be alternate in sign. But both are negative. So they are not alternate in sign. Is it okay, Sophie?
আচ্ছা স্যার ওকে
So again, remember what I'm saying. Please keep in mind this part always. I hope the difficulties will be minimum. So first one, what we need to find out, we have to find out the Hessian matrix at that point. And what we are going to do, we are going to check the sign of the principal minors. Okay? If all the sign of the principal minors are greater than equal to 0, if I just take the general version of this, if they are all greater than equal to 0, then nature of the point will be relative minimum. Okay? If they are alternate in sign starting with negative, if they are alternate in sign starting with negative, then sorry, I have written positive. Sorry, this negative definite. Negative বলবি তো আমি বললাম negative definite লিখেছি আসলে positive. Okay, sorry for that. So what I'm saying that if they're alternate in sign, then it will be called as negative definite. The nature of the Hessian matrix will be negative definite. Okay, and in that case the nature of the point will be relative maximum. Other than this, any situation you will get every time the nature of the Hessian matrix will be indefinite. Is it okay to all of you? Any question, any query, please ask me. Is it okay to you? Is it okay? একদম তাই, yes. Okay, any other query, any question if you have? Otherwise I'll proceed to the next problem, and I expect that you should solve the problem. Okay, this is the function. We have to find out the extremum points of this function. That means again you have to find out maximum and minimum, relative maximum, relative minimum. Okay, so first of all, what we are going to do, we are going to find out the gradient of the function fx. That means basically we are going to find out del f del x1, del f del x2, and del f del x3, because this function has 3 variables associated with 3 unknowns, x1, x2, x3. So del f del x1 will be what? Minus 2x1 plus 1. That is will be equal to 0. That is x1 is half. Okay. x2 minus 2x2, okay, plus x3, that will be equal to 0. We are going to see what is the value of this. And next, minus 2x3 plus x2 plus x2 plus 2, that is will be equal to 0. Okay, now we can easily find out this one. What is the value of x3? That is going to be 2x2. And if you replace the value of 2x2 here, what is going to come? Minus 4x2 plus x2 plus 2 is equal to 0. That means the value of x2 is what? Minus 3x2 minus 2, so 2 by 3. Yes. And what is the value of x3 then? 4 by 3. Is it fine? Is it up to this? So what is the stationary point? What is the stationary point? x1 is what? Half. x2 is what? 2 by 3. And x3 is what? 4 by 3. Okay. So after getting the stationary point, what you have to find out? You have to find out the Hessian matrix. Now, if I ask you, what will be the order of the Hessian matrix? What will be the order of the Hessian matrix? अरे ये तो कम से कम बोलना चाहिए. You should answer this question.
3.
3. How do you understand that? That will be depending on the number of variables associated with the function. So as 3 variables are here, so here the order of the Hessian matrix will be 3 cross 3. So if I ask you what is the first element in general, del 2f del x12, right? Del 2f del x1 del x2, del 2f del x1 del x3, okay? Del 2f del x2 del x1, del 2f del x22, del 2f del x2 del x3, okay? Del x2 del x3, and this is going to be del 2f, sorry, del 2f, oh, sorry for that, del 2f del x3 printer is not allowed to write down here, so minimum space, del 2f del x3 del x1, okay, del 2f del x3 del x1, del 2f del x3 del x2, okay, and del 2f del x3. Is it okay? This one is del 2f del x3 del x1. This pen tab is not allowing me to write down here actually. Is it visible to you? Is it okay? Okay. Okay. So now if you just calculate this part, what is del 2f del x12? What is that? Minus 2?
Minus 2.
Yes. Del 2f del x1 del x2, what will be that? 0.
0.
Okay. Del 2f del x1 del x3,
0.
remember one thing, as they are symmetric, so del 2f del x1 del x2 will be same as del 2f del x2 del x1. No need to calculate that. You can easily write down this value will be come out here. This value will be come out here as they are symmetric. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now next is what? Del 2f del x22. Del 2f
Minus
del
2.
x2 minus 2. Okay. Del 2f del x2 del x3. Del x2 del x3 will be what? 1.
1.
And this will be also 1 then. No need to
Yes,
calculate.
sir. Yes.
And del 2f del x3 2. What will be that?
Minus 2. Minus 2.
So now what we are going to do after calculating the Hessian matrix, we are going to find out principal minors, possible principal minors. So again, if I ask you how many principal minors you are going to get?
3.
3. Very good. 3. So first H1. If I ask you what is H1? How do you understand that? I have already mentioned to you in the last class. Again, I am repeating the same thing. So first of all, we are going to find out the first principal minor, that is minus 2. So H1 is minus 2. H2 is what? H2 is the second principal minor. This will be H2. Okay? So H2 will be what? The determinant of minus 2, 0, 0, minus 2. What is the determinant here? 4. And H3 is basically the total determinant of H. Okay? So H3 is determinant of H. What is that?
Minus 6.
Minus 6. Okay. Now tell me what is the nature of the matrix? What is the nature of the matrix?
Negative definite.
Very good. How do you understand that? First thing you need to remember that first one will be negative. Yes, it is coming. And next, what you have to see whether they are alternate in sign. Alternate sign means odd order will be negative and even order will be positive. So odd order principal minor will be negative and even order principal minor will be positive. So all odd order is what? Minus H1 and H3, they are negative. And H2, even order principal minor, which is coming as positive. So that means the nature of the matrix is what? Negative definite. Now, instead of -6, if it will come +6, then what will be the nature of the matrix?
Indefinite.
Very good. Now I hope you have understand that how do you are going to deal with the Hessian matrix. So, what is the nature of the point? The nature of the point is local maxima. So, the point 1/2. What is that point? 2/3, right? 1/2, 2/3, and क्या था last? 4/3. Will you check that? Local maxima. Is it okay? Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the function which does not have the neither maximum nor minimum. Then what will be the scenario actually? We have discussed this part, but now we are going to elaborate this part. In this example, you may think about that suppose we are considering a function fxy is equal to x square minus y square. Okay, x square minus y square. So if it is x square minus y square, then what will be del f del x? 2x, right? This will be equal to 0, and del f del y minus 2y, which is also 0. Yes. So what will be the stationary point? Stationary point is 0, 0. What will be the Hessian matrix H? What is the Hessian matrix H? So second order derivative here. 2, 0. It is 0 minus 2. Just take the second order derivative here. What is going to come? 2. If you take the partial mixed derivative xy, that is going to come as 0. So this one will be also 0. And if you take the second order derivative on y, that is going to be minus 2. Okay. So what will be h1 now? 2, which is greater than 0. What will be h2? Determinant of h? Minus 4, which is less than 0. So what is the nature of the matrix? What is the nature of the matrix? Indefinite. So automatically the point will be the saddle point. Okay. Okay. So now let's take another problem to find the extreme points. Please do this one. Chalo. So first of all, what you are going to do, you are going to find out the partial derivative with respect to x, y, z. So del f del x, del f del y, and del f del z. Okay. So what will be del f del x? X plus, very good, is equal to 0. Del f del y, 8y, yes, good. X and z, yes, sorry. Yes, very good. Del f del z. Okay. Now, if I ask you, what is the solution of this system linear equation? What is the solution of this system linear equation? Anyone? Exactly, because this is a homogeneous system of linear equation. This is a homogeneous system of linear equation. So obviously this is going to come as 0, 0, 0. Okay. So here the stationary point is 0, 0, 0. Okay. So now what you have to find out? You have to find out the Hessian matrix. Again, now I'm not going to write down the general term. I'm going to directly write down. First one is what? Del 2f del x2, right? Del 2f del x2 is what? 2. Next is del 2f del x del y. That is 4. Good. Next, again 4. So if this is 2, 4, 4, as we know it is symmetric, so column will be also same as the first one. It will be also 2, 4, 4. No need to calculate that. Automatically it is come. Next, del 2f del y2. What is that? Good. Del 2f del yz. So this one is 16, so automatically it will also come as 16. Next, 8. 8. So what is h1? 2, which is greater than 0. h2 is what?
4.
2, 4, 4,
তো
8.
ডিটারমিনেন্ট নিচ্ছেন এটা?
Determinant নিতে হবে। h2 is the determinant of 0. h3 determinant of h. See what is coming.
স্যার এটা চেক করতে হবে ডিটারমিনেন্টটা কোন পয়েন্টে 0 হচ্ছে, পয়েন্ট অফ ইনফ্লেশন চেক করতে হবে আর কি নাকি?
না, determinant এর সাইনটা চেক করতে হবে। First calculate the determinant. What is going to come? 2 into 128 minus 16 square. Okay. Oh, 64. Sorry. 256 minus 4 into what? 32 minus 64 plus 4 into 64 minus 32. I think it will come as negative because minus 128. Okay. Which is less than 0. Now if I ask you, what is the nature of the matrix? Nature of the matrix?
Positive semi-definite.
Positive semi-definite means it should be always greater than equal to 0. Is this greater than 0? No. That means obviously only one option we have, that is indefinite. For first of all, just think always in this way, it will be better for you. First of all, check h1. If h1 is negative, then two options are either it will be negative definite or indefinite. If they are alternate in sign, then it will be negative definite. If they are not alternate in sign, then obviously it will be indefinite. So if h1 is positive, then again two options you have, either positive definite or semi-definite definitely, and indefinite. If h1 is positive, and for positive definite or semi-definite, it should be always greater than equal to 0. But this one is less than 0. So that means it will be indefinite. Because for positive, semi-definite is greater than equal to 0. It will be greater than equal to 0. But this one is less than 0. So how do you calculate this one? Okay. So this one is indefinite. So H is definite. Indefinite Hessian matrix. So what is the nature of the point? So 0, 0, 0 is a saddle point. Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, one interesting observation, what I have already mentioned to you regarding the saddle point, that I have taken that example. I hope you remember x square minus y square, and we have already seen that the point 0, 0, 0 is actually a saddle point. Sorry, point 0, 0 is a saddle point, right? For this function x square minus y square. Now, the interesting fact is that it can be seen this figure that f of x was y star, f of x y star is what here? The optimal point x star comma y star is 0, 0, right? So what is y star here? Y star is 0. So that means f of x0 I am talking about. What is f of x0? If I ask you, f of x0 is x square, right? Has a relative minimum. This f of x y star, that is x square, has a relative minimum. And similarly, f of x star y, that is f of 0y, has relative, that is minus y square, has relative maximum at that point x star y star. So the thing is that when I combinedly consider the point 0, 0, it is going to give you the saddle point, neither maximum nor minimum. But when we are considering the point as single point, that is x star you are considering individually, y star you are considering individually, then the nature of the function will become as relative maximum and relative minimum. And that's why you can see that combinedly it does not give you the single nature. Is it okay what I try to say? What I'm saying that although the point 0, 0 is a saddle point, but if we consider at any point x star or y star at a time, then suppose we are considering y star first, then f of x y star, that is f of x0, that will also, that is always be a relative minimum. And when you are considering f of x star y, that is f of 0y, that will always give you the relative maximum for any saddle point x star comma y star. Okay, but that means you can say the characteristic of a saddle point is that it corresponds to a relative maximum or minimum of fxy with respect to one variable only. ঠিক আছে? So the characteristic of saddle point, it corresponds to the, as I mentioned, to relative minimum and relative maximum, it will correspond to only one point. If you consider only one point, one variable at a time, then it will give you either relative maximum or relative minimum. Is it okay? This is one insight of the saddle point. The saddle point, if you consider the saddle point, if you examine the saddle point, then you are going to find out this kind of property. Is it okay? Is it okay to you? Is it okay to you? Okay. Now we are going to discuss two very, very important things, that is convex function and concave function. But before that, you need to know what do we mean by convex set. Otherwise, we cannot define convex function or concave function. Okay. So first of all, what is convex set? Do you know what is convex set? Anyone? Okay, I'm saying that. Listen carefully. A set S is said to be convex set if for all x, y in S, that means xy belongs to the set, and all lambda belongs to 0, 1, that is lambda belongs to between 0 to 1 value. The point lambda x plus 1 minus lambda y, that should belongs to S always. What is the meaning of that? That means lambda x and 1 minus lambda. Just try to understand the logic first. What is the meaning of that? Because this is a very, very important fact in later part of the optimization methods, that suppose I'm considering a line, a real line I'm considering. Okay. So x and y, it can be any point. It can be any point corresponding to the function x and y. Now, if we consider the value of lambda in between 0 to 1, suppose start with lambda equal to half. Can we consider, because it belongs to 0 to 1? Now, if lambda is half, what x, lambda x plus 1 minus lambda y give us? If lambda equal to half? Anyone? Anyone? If lambda is half, what lambda x plus 1 minus lambda y gives us? क्या देगा ये? That will give us, that is basically the midpoint of this interval. Okay. Now, if you take another value of lambda in between 0 to 1, suppose you can consider x equal to 1 by 3, right? Then you are always going to get a value here. And for every value of lambda between 0 to 1, you are going to get each and every point in this interval x and y. Right or wrong? If you consider every possible values of lambda between 0 to 1, then you are going to get each and every point in this interval x to y. Right? Right?
Yes, sir.
That means if we consider each and every point in this interval, ultimately this lambda x plus 1 minus lambda y represent in general the line segment joining these 2 points x and y. Right? That will represent a line segment joining these 2 points x and y. Fine? Is it okay? That means 2 points are there, and if I want to represent a line joining these 2 points, I can always represent it by lambda x plus 1 minus lambda y, because it will consider each and every point in between these 2 x and y. Right? Okay. Okay. Now, if we want to think about that, what type of set will be considered as convex set? Suppose I am considering this set. Is it a convex set? To check that, what we are going to do? We are going to take 2 points, x and y, and what we are going to see that the line joining these 2 points should belongs to that set. If it is true for all such kind of xy, that means it is not necessary for these 2 points. You can consider these 2 points here as well. It should belongs to that S. The line joining these 2 points should belongs to S. You can consider here as well. It should also belongs to S. If this line, all the lines for all xy, if it is true, then we can say this is a convex set. Now the question is that what type of set will be not a convex set? Very simple. Just consider this set. Okay? You may find some point whose line segment belongs to that set. If I take x and y here, then it will belongs to that set. But if somebody choose the point x and y here, then is this line segment belongs to that set S? No. So this set is non-convex set. Remember that there is no such set called concave set. Remember that. Okay? So it is basically non-convex set. And this one is called convex set. Is it okay?
So can you please repeat the last part?
Yes. What I'm saying, that if you have taken 2 points from a set, and if the line segment joining these 2 points, if you want to visualize it pictorially, then you can think about like that, that if you have considered 2 points on a set, And if the line segment joining these 2 points, if it also belongs to that set, then the set is said to be as a convex set. Okay? And if you do not find out this kind of nature in a set, that will be called as non-convex set. But remember that, as I mentioned to you, the lambda x plus 1 minus lambda y belongs to S. This property should hold for every x and y in the set S. So for this set, you can find some point where the line segment belongs to the set. But you may find some other point as well where the line segment does not lie into the set S. So in that case, we are going to consider those set as a non-convex set. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, just today I'm going to give you the convex function definition, and obviously in the next class I will elaborately explain that part also. Now, what is convex function? Convex function, let us consider a function f. And I'm considering a function from S to Rn, where S is a convex set. Okay. So I am considering a function from a convex set to Rn. Rn means basically I am considering in general. If it is a function of one variable, it will be R. If it is a function of more than one variable, it may be, depending on what n you have to choose. Right? Now, when it will be called as convex function? If f of lambda x1 plus 1 minus lambda x2 is less than equal to lambda f of x1 plus 1 minus lambda f of x2 for all x1 x2 belongs to S and lambda belongs to 0 1. If this is true, if this relation is true for each and every value of x1 and x2 belongs to S and for lambda belongs to 0 to 1, then we can say this function is a convex function. Now listen carefully what I am saying. First of all, is this set, it is necessary to be this set as a convex set. Why? Because we know that if S is a convex set, then we can make sure that if x1 and x2 belongs to S, then lambda x1 plus 1 minus lambda x2 also belongs to set. This is true only when the set is a convex set. So to define the function, it should be a convex set. Clear to you? Clear to you? What I'm saying, that for defining the convex function, that set should be a convex set. Why I'm saying so? Because if we consider any 2 points from the set S, then we have already seen that for convex set, lambda x plus 1 minus lambda y should also belongs to the set. Clear? And this property is only going to be true for a convex set. So if it does not belongs to the set S, then how we are going to define this relation? Are you getting my point? To define this relation, this point should also belongs to S. ये S पे होना चाहिए. अगर S पे ये नहीं होगा, तो obviously you cannot define this relation. First of all, is it true? Is it okay to all of you up to this? Is it okay to all of you? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question is that what this relation means. We have already seen that if you have considered 2 points, x1 and x2, then lambda x1 plus 1 minus lambda x2 means it will be a line joining these 2 points. That means basically we are talking about this line. Fine. What we are going to do? We are going to check that for each and every point, the functional value here, that should be less than equal to this calculation. Okay. Now, just try to think about the functional value at the point x1. What will be that? Functional value at the point x1 will be come out somewhere here, right? Functional value at the point x2 it will be somewhere here. Somewhere here. Now, lambda fx1 plus 1 minus lambda x2 means basically we are talking about this part only. Is it okay up to this? Now, that means what I'm saying, that if we have taken any value, functional value in between x1 and x2, I can take here. If I take that, at this point, the functional value will be always lesser than this. Yes. ঠিক আছে, আমি just আর 1 minute নেবো, just 1 minute. So that I mean to say that if we take any value here in between x1 to x2, then the functional value will be always lies under this value, lambda fx1 plus 1 minus lambda fx2. If we find such kind of function, then the function will be called as convex function. Okay? Just go through it again, because we have to deal with now onwards convex function, convex set, concave function also. In the next class, we are going to see. So any doubt, if you find, please ask me in the now.